When you live in a place this beautiful, would you ever want to go anywhere else? In our case, the answer is yes. While we are very grateful to live in such a beautiful place, we know there is so much more out there in the world that we haven't seen yet. There are places we want to go, people we want to meet, and experiences we want to have. So while we'll come back here on occasion, we cannot wait to get out on the road again. Okay, we've released the drone the second time. I'm looking around anxiously now, wondering if a bird's gonna come flying out of nowhere.
The osprey went that way, quite a ways, so hopefully it doesn't come back.
He stood here like staring at, well, didn't stand, he hovered and stared at us for a long time, like, what is this thing? Is it coming after my nest? So we are now keeping the drone a lot lower, just in case we have to land it very quickly. We're up on a butte thing, so we do not want...
It's a butte, Clark.
We don't want the bird to pull it out of the sky and throw it off the mountain, like the hill area that we're on.
So DJI does provide a insurance coverage for your drone. It's fairly inexpensive. I think it was $100 for like 3 years of coverage, and it covers all the damages. Like if you lose it over water, if a bird scoops it out of the air, it's covered. Lost drone, things like that. So
oh, that is nice. I didn't know that.
Yeah, so for a big investment like this drone is, highly recommend getting that extra coverage on it. It's fairly inexpensive. But this is really the first time we've brought the drone out and got just like kind of some casual walking, out in nature type footage. It's always been, oh, let's get one of the truck and trailer or the Starlink or whatever. I'm glad it didn't end up in a fail where the osprey killed it, so.
Well, and we didn't have the camera on yet either, so we couldn't actually see the bird coming after it from the drone itself. So yeah, what are we doing? Do you want me to stop, or do you want to keep recording while we walk? Or?
No, we can tell where we're going.
Okay, so we are getting ready to leave town again. If you've watched our channel, you know that last year we spent an entire year traveling the entire Western United States, minus Alaska and Hawaii. We did all the other Western United States, and our goal was to see, did we like full-time RV life? We had been RVing a little more locally before that in the summers, which is kind of what we did this summer. We got back to Colorado, where we live, and we took trips to Nebraska.
Oh, it lost us.
What, the drone? Oh, the drone. It's facing the wrong way now.
It is.
The butt end of it. At least it stayed close to us, though.
Yeah.
There we go. Now he's back on track.
I'm gonna go up a little bit higher.
So he's not making as much noise?
No.
Do people name their drones? Is that a thing? I know they name their RVs and their trucks. We haven't done that, but
I guess leave in the comments if you name your drone. I'm not gonna name mine. I'm just...
He doesn't let us name the RV either. He thinks that's weird.
It's dumb.
But anyway, so we got back to Colorado. We did some quick trips to Wyoming, Nebraska, and around Colorado. We did Granby, Steamboat Springs, all great places to RV. But then we've been coming back home in between, and now we're getting ready to go back on the road for a big trip. We're not going for a whole year, and we're going different places, but we're going to kind of reveal that along the way, I think. Some of it's a surprise. What we discovered last year, though, after doing it for a year and meeting up with other full-time RV families who are working age like us, with kids around the same age as us. Oh, it's ruining my video. We discovered that hanging out with RVers who were working age like us and had kids around the same age like us was really fun. So the purpose of our trip this fall/winter is going to be, we're gonna go do really cool things, but we're also gonna spend more time kind of caravanning, traveling with other RV families, because we're both social, our kids are social. We do really like having the friend aspect on the road. And so if you can hook up with other people that RV like you do, and they're very familiar with this lifestyle, it makes travel even more fun because now you're bringing your community with you. So that's kind of our plan this year. We will be coming back home again, but we don't really know when yet.
Well, I mean, we could argue and say that we have 2 homes now, so.
That's true. So yeah, once we stop, we'll tell you what we're doing with the house too. We do own a home. And so that's always a big question is, well, what do you do with your house when you're not there, when you're in your second home, your RV? What about the kids when they're away from their local friends? How do you guys do school? How do you work? All of those types of things. And really, in today's day and age with technology, it isn't as challenging as I think people assume it's going to be. But it's something we really enjoy, that freedom and that flexibility to not be tied down to one place and to see all the places that you see on TV and movies or that you learn about in school. To actually get to go to them is really neat. All right.
I don't know if she's going to start or if I'm going to start.
I think I'm going to.
I've learned, so this is a lessons learned thing. And if I've learned anything, let Sunny go ahead and start the video.
Well, and here's what I've learned. If I talk too much, Brandon's just going to cut it out in editing anyway. So I may as well just get my words out. And then if he doesn't like it, he won't use it. So I'm just going to go.
She just put some pauses in there. Just a short little pause.
For emphasis.
And go.
We're going to be telling you about the lessons that we've learned in our last year of RV travel and then explain why are we doing this again. We have a home. As you've seen in this video, we live in a beautiful state. That's really why we started RVing. We grew up in Kansas where there's not a lot to do outside. And so when we moved to Colorado, we started RVing so we could get out and explore our home state more. But once we went on the road, we discovered there's so much more to see and do too. So I think that is a huge motivator for us to keep going. Something that is awesome about Colorado is the great weather, except in the winter, it snows a lot. And we really enjoyed spending last winter where it was warm. We want to do that again.
So yeah, we talked about last year, Palm Springs, the temperature there, but we were in shorts and tank tops basically for Christmas and Thanksgiving and Christmas, right?
In the hot tub, Christmas Eve.
Well, watching on Thanksgiving, like how can you compete with that? I guess we're not snowboarders, we're not skiers, so that's never really been a drive for us to be in the cold weather environments. And with our rig, we definitely don't want to be here traveling through having to worry about all the winterization things and the heated hoses. We have winterized our RV in the past and put it in storage for the winter, but after a winter of not doing that, Brandon is like, if we don't have to winterize the rig, no desire,
and put it in storage for 8 or 9 months, we have this great rolling home. Why would we store it for a large portion of the year? Let's take it out where it's warm and we don't have to do the heated hoses and the skirts. That is something neither one of us are interested in, is cold weather RV.
All right, so we're going to get into some of the lessons learned that we had on the 13 months of travels. So I think one of the biggest things that we learned about our daughter that we didn't know is that she really, we kind of knew it, but didn't really realize how much she needed a group of people that she could really bond with and talk with and hang out with and really socialize with, because she'd been begging for it, obviously, because we left here, she had some friends and things like that. Come to find out, when we moved back, they pretty much all moved away. So her RV community is actually still better. Even when we're home, she's talking to her RV friends. Plus, the RV friends understand what it's like to travel. I don't want to say that her local friends have a limited view, but they kind of do. They think of traveling as
I take that once a week or one time a year. We take a week somewhere and we go on vacation. And their lives are so rooted into school and their local community. They don't quite get it. It has been really great to hook her up with a group of RVing teens who understand the same exact lifestyle she's living. They're all homeschooled, and so they are also working towards graduation and very independent and motivated. Well, she has a few good friends still in Colorado. The majority of the people who are like her really have become her RV group of friends. And to Brandon's point, we got back, a lot of people moved away. So even Steele has said, like, I don't really have friends here anymore, which
He's ready to get out.
yeah, he is ready to go. And I think once Brielle graduates, he probably will be ready to travel a lot. He really likes being on the road. But we realized that we missed the social aspect for us as well. The average age in an RV park trends a little older than our family. So when we can meet other families who are in the same stage in life we are, it's just a really neat experience to hang out with them, share meals together, and have all the kids play. That is something we're really looking forward to this time when we travel, is spending more time with other families.
And we have a lot of that planned. So we aren't big, like, book way in advance people. Like, we do like to book
4 to 6 weeks is usually our max.
Yeah. I mean, I try to have things planned out for the next month before we get into the previous month to the next month. But it's not one of those things where we're like, oh, 6 months out, we've got to get to this site. Well, we've kind of had to do that a little bit with some of the folks that we're meeting up with, because they found some great spots, and we're going to try to tag along with all of that and get to those same locations, and they tend to kind of fill up. So
our first spot, though, we booked only a few weeks ago.
That's true. Yeah.
So we were in it. But to Brandon's point, if you're trying to coordinate and you've got 6 or 7 large RVs bringing families somewhere, you do have to plan that a little more in advance. Something else that we learned is that less really is more. I've always been a practical person. I never really was into accumulating and acquiring a lot of stuff. But I think when we were on the road, we realized just how little we could live with and how few things, possessions, we actually needed. That the experiences you live and the memories you make really are the most important things, and that is what you're going to remember from your life, not the stuff you had.
Right. We need coffee.
We
need
coffee.
Clothes.
We need internet because
fuel.
we still work.
The ladies need a bathroom. Steele and I could get away with just like a building. Not necessarily an outhouse, but like a park, like a nice sheltered wash house thing.
That's true. But with a bathroom, with the conveniences of a kitchen and even a small living space, you're able to do everything you would do in a home, but you get to take it with you to all these cool places. So you get to be where you want when the weather's nice. You get to travel to places you may not have gone otherwise. We talked about that when we first started traveling. Is our tendency before was to fly into a city, do everything kind of in the area for a week, and then fly home. But when you RV, you get to go off the beaten path to a lot of these smaller towns that are a long way from an airport, but they're still really neat to see. And so, yeah, being able to be mobile like that and carry less stuff with us, but still have everything we need has been such a neat experience.
Agreed. So we've seen through watching a bunch of videos and being on Facebook of these like forum type locations of full-time RVing and things like that, people always ask, how much is it to RV? And I don't think that's a great question to ask because it really depends. However, we have experienced that it's cheaper. Like from a cost perspective, our rent, you could say, I've tried to average between $30 and $40 a night for our stays. And so if you extrapolate that out over a month, you're looking at, what is that, $1,000 roughly, a little bit over, a little bit less, depending on how you work it out. But in 30 days, $30 a night, you're $900. So 40, you're $1,200. So somewhere in there is usually where we try to hit our sweet spot. So for us in Colorado, that cost per night is really significantly less than what it is for a house or an apartment or different things like that, with different other living facilities, I suppose you'd say. But maybe in your area in I don't want to, I'm not going to try, I'm not going to say anywhere in the country. It depends on where you're at. So
in Colorado, rent is higher than that. Mortgages are higher than that unless you come in with a huge down payment. I mean, you're talking an area that is very, very expensive, you know, and we saw that in the West Coast too, that like in California, diesel was higher there even than it is here, but maybe not in Arizona. Or, you know, I've heard that the Southeast rents are still relatively inexpensive. But yeah, if you're looking for, maybe you're in a very expensive to live area and you want to travel and you think you can't afford it.
California.
Well, anywhere that's more expensive, right? There's multiple areas around the country. It might be cheaper for you to actually live in another place part-time out of the year. It was for us. We saved money, even spending a lot of time in California, being on the road in less expensive areas on food and gas and our mortgage and those types of costs that we would have at home. So,
well, and we don't want to like sugarcoat this and say that it's necessarily cheap, because you do have other expenses, right? You've got wear and tear on vehicles. We changed so many tires.
all the tires.
Drove lots of miles with a diesel truck, getting 9 miles to the gallon, right? So those are cost factors that you have to figure into there. Internet was definitely more expensive, so there you have to factor in those things. But overall, this is a lot cheaper, and we tended to, because in certain places we weren't able to necessarily go out to eat all the time. So we were, you know, we had to do more cooking in the camper, which was great. Like we made some great meals throughout the year. Versus here, we're very familiar with where all of the restaurants here and the ones that we really like. And it's like, hey, do we want to cook tonight? Nah, let's go. Well, I literally made a trip with the family after church last Sunday down to Whataburger, 30 minutes away, because I knew there was a Whataburger down there. So anyway, yeah, there's other expenses that go into it, so you do have to be mindful of that. But overall, for us, our experience is that RV living is cheaper.
And
more affordable.
So we ended up getting to go to a lot of places that people haven't been to, or maybe they've been to some of them, but not all of them. By doing such a large region in the country, we were really able to maximize the places we went. And that's something that we've told our kids too. Like, to them, it's so normal. They don't even really have
an appreciation
frame of reference
for it at all.
or appreciation for it. But we're like, we went places that your grandparents haven't been, and they've lived a lot longer than you, or places that we had never been until we went with them. But it is something that, in talking to other RV families, a lot of these kids, they travel so much, they don't even realize how unique and special that is. In all of last year's travel, we did really identify some new places we wanted to go to, because we saw how much fun we were having in the West and found some other places we want to go. So we are going to hit some of those spots on this upcoming trip. You'll want to stay tuned. We're going to be revealing where we go along the way and leave some of it a surprise, because like we mentioned, we're going to be traveling with friends, but we are also doing our own thing some too. Thank you so much for joining us. Thank you so much for following us if you already are. And if you haven't followed yet, make sure that you follow, hit that subscribe button. Sorry, I always say follow. Make sure you subscribe, hit like, all the things, so that way you don't miss out on part 2 of our Life Live Now
journey. That was cheesy.
That was, but
perfect. We didn't plan it. It just happened.
We're just on the same page. That's what almost 17 years of marriage will do. And hey, we are still married after our year of adventure.
Somebody riding by on the bike was like, "Am I interrupting a proposal?" I'm like, "Oh, that happened a long time ago." Yeah, we're way past that point.
We're way past that, but we're still having fun, and that's important. Whatever you're doing in life, have fun.
Have fun.